Skye Squad, we are back in the building with some more news. Okay, so it looks like the new season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is about to be pretty doggone lit. Okay, for a lot of people, they complained last season about Dorit's lack of a storyline. Well, this season, Dorit is gonna have a whole lot on her plate. Now, just weeks after her home was burglarized, while she was in it with her kids, PK, her husband, was not there. But now there has been more news that has come out of Beverly Hills about Dorit and her family, specifically PK. Okay. Shout out to our friends over at TV Deets. This is one of the first place that I happened to see it when I woke up this morning. We got to talk about Dorit's husband, PK, being arrested, okay, for the DUI. Okay, now here's the interesting thing, though. Here's the very interesting thing. This didn't happen last night. This didn't happen yesterday. This didn't happen this weekend. This happened in the early hours of November 23rd, okay? So this is apparently what happened, all right? So according to California Highway Patrol, and of course TMZ gets the tea, all right? Kemsley, PK, was stopped in the early hours of the morning on November 23rd because they happened to see his Bentley bobbing and weaving, okay? Bobbing and weaving in traffic on the 101 freeway in LA. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and tell y'all this. Just as someone who used to drive those highways, specifically the 101, it really takes a lot for you to be stopped by the popo, all right? I mean, at least in my experience, for something you're doing while you're driving. I done seen people speeding and flying all up and through that highway. So if he was bobbing and a weaving, he must have been seriously doing some bobbing and weaving, because typically, I mean, I don't really see it, for me, at least in my experience, in my 3 years living there, I didn't really see or experience a lot of people being pulled over by the popo, while I was driving. But, that could have just been because I wasn't looking. But anyway, he was driving alone and then he was arrested. Now, they say he was cooperative during the entire situation. He agreed to submit a breathalyzer test once they got him back to the station. So, there's a lot that's going on with this whole thing. Now, he was released. Okay. There's that bit of information. But what the Daily Mail is saying is that when he took the breathalyzer test, he blew a 0.073, and the legal limit in California is 0.08. All right. They say he was held at the station for an hour. He was driven home by the California Highway Patrol, and he was met by former officers with the Los Angeles Police Department, who apparently are guarding his residence after, they had their whole home invasion in October. Dorit nor their kids were in the car. All right. He was apparently out with a business colleague where he consumed a glass of wine with dinner. So following a traffic stop, they say in a statement, it was determined that he may have been close to the legal limit. He regrets the fact that he did not take alternate transportation home, like an Uber, okay? And he takes the allegations extremely seriously and fully cooperated with the authorities. This is his first and only incident in his long driving history, according to the statement. And, you just know that this is going to be brought up on this coming season of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Now, what I'm going to tell you I don't want to have happen is Garcelle, Sutton, Do not bring up this story. Because in last season, it was up to Sutton to do all the bringing up of the stories and whatnot for Erica Jane. You know, it was Garcelle who found herself on the receiving end of, you know, DORIT calling her a bully, which DORIT later said that she regretted. But it was really Garcelle and Sutton who were asking Erica the tough questions and taking all the heat for everything that went down with Erica Jane, even though the rest of those girls had questions. All right. Even though the rest of them had questions. And Lisa Rinna definitely took a back seat to the asking of any questions because Erica Jane is her friend. Okay. So what I don't want to see happen is this. Somebody gonna have to bring this up on the show. If it ain't DORIT herself, somebody else is gonna be in charge of bringing up the tea. And you know, in the past, a lot of these girls in this little clique right here of Kyle, DORIT, Erica, and Lisa, you know, they usually try to protect each other. So it is going to be up to somebody from the outside to bring this up. And they have a new person who is filming. Okay. And I believe she's supposed to be a friend of like Lisa Rinna's or something like that. It better be her, okay? Or maybe even Crystal, but it cannot be Sutton being the person that's going to bring up this information on camera, because it's got to be brought up at this point. It's got to be. So it's either going to be DORIT herself that brings it up, or it's going to have to be a cast member who either in tandem asks about it, or somebody gonna have to bring it up in a salacious way, because that's how it works. And you know it ain't gonna be Kathy Hilton, because I don't even think she filming this season. Because they're not trying to give her, I mean, allegedly, they ain't trying to give her that guap. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I gotta say about the situation is it best to be somebody else, and it best to not be Garcelle, and it best to not be Sutton, because they the ones who are always at the center of the controversy for asking the questions that everybody else got but too afraid to ask. Okay. So that's what I got to say about that situation. Make sure you guys subscribe for more news, more recaps, and commentary. You know, on this channel, I like to just think of myself as, you know, we get some headlines, we talk about it, you know what I'm saying, what it means, what we want to see, what we don't want to see, and you guys comment on it, and we focus on these recaps. That's how we moving forward. If you rocking, okay, I'm rolling. All right. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell button, and I will catch you guys in the next video.